Cougar Sports Saturday.
It's complete. Another touchdown!
Cougar Sports Saturday. A presentation of KSL Sports.
Left wing for three. He got it again!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Here are your hosts, Mitch Harper and Matt Baiamonte. On Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Welcome on in, hour number 2, Cougar Sports Saturday. How you feeling, Cougar Nation? Man, it's good times right now. BYU 7-0. And I got to say, Mitch Harper, Matt Baiamonte here with you on KSL News Radio. I got to say, when you watch college football around the country, and you see all the action right now, we're watching Miami, Louisville on the screen right now. Miami's number 6 in the country, and I'm watching this game in and out while we host the show. But I don't come away feeling like, well, BYU couldn't hang with Miami. Like I know
there's only 3 teams, really, that I don't feel like they could hang with.
Look, the thing is, too, is BYU went up against Texas, the number 1 team in the country, last year. No, it's different teams, and it wasn't Quinn Ewers or Arch Manning in that Texas game, but for stretches defensively, BYU held their own.
Yep.
I think BYU has got this confidence. And look, I'd love to see the opportunity like TCU got, where you go to the national title. Hey, maybe get your doors blown off, and maybe you get ripped to shreds by a Georgia or Texas. Maybe it happens. But you know what? I just think BYU in a playoff, they could be a tough out, Matt. And I think it's going to be fun to see how this season progresses. And the fact that we're talking about maybe playoff aspirations is pretty fun for this BYU football team. I know a guy last night that had a really good time. He was in the press box with us. Deseret News writer Jackson Payne knows a lot about BYU sports and all-around good guy. Jackson, welcome on into Cougar Sports Saturday. How you feeling on this Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon now?
Guys, it's great to be here, but I got to admit, I feel a little bit bad that I just feel like I can't do justice for what we saw last night. That was just incredible. Nothing I say can compare to what we saw, but what a game. We're going to be telling our kids about that one for years to come. So much fun.
Did that eclipse the Kansas State win for you?
1,000%. Yeah. Kansas State was impressive just considering where they were ranked and BYU being the underdog. But this was a more exciting game. BYU blew the doors off Kansas State, which was super encouraging. But there's something about overcoming adversity and the magic that occurred last night that's going to stick with you way longer. And I was already thinking, would I rather pick Parker Kingston's punt return or Retzlaff to Lassiter as the number 1 play of the season? And I got to go Retzlaff to Lassiter because it carries so much more weight. Obviously, the Kingston punt return was incredible and probable and went viral. We'll think about that one for years, but it didn't win the game. That game was already won pretty much. And so for Retzlaff to find Lassiter in that moment and Lassiter to just be invincible and break all those tackles, and there's just magic happens, right? Austin Collie said it best, and the magic of BYU sports is what stays with you forever. And that's got to take the top spot for me.
Do you feel like it's just I asked Kalani in the post game that is this a team of destiny? And I'm curious your thoughts. Do you feel like this is a team of destiny right now with the pace that they're at 7-0?
You know what? It's hard not to think they're a team of destiny, and I think the Big 12 is such a chaotic conference. There's so many random upsets, and there's a lot of cannibalism within the conference. And I think that's healthy for college football as a whole. It's fun to get these upsets and to have such a compelling conference slate. But BYU's played in 2 games now against Baylor in the second half where they almost collapsed, and this game against Oklahoma State where it went right down to the wire. Those are very much Big 12 chaos games that probably could have gone the other way, and BYU lost. And BYU found a way to win both games, right? And so great teams find a way to win games down the stretch. They make plays. Obviously, you had the Crew Wakely pick against Baylor. You had Retzlaff to Lassiter last night. BYU's coming out victorious in these kind of coin flip Big 12 chaos games. And for me, that screams destiny, right? And so now you got to really – the next 3 weeks are crazy for BYU. You got to travel 2 time zones away to the East Coast, go to UCF. That's a really athletic team with a lot of speed. Jay Hill's defense is going to have its hands full. And then you got to play Utah in 2 weeks, right? So – we're going to see if the destiny tag can keep up for BYU in these next 2 games. But right now, if you don't think BYU is a team of destiny, then something's wrong because they have the resume for it and they have the film for it, and it's just been. I grew up on the East Coast, right? BYU wasn't really relevant out there. I get people from high school texting me all the time now, like, oh my gosh, BYU's crazy. Like, I can't believe you were at that game. Like, that was the craziest thing I've ever seen. Like, people are paying attention. It feels very TCU 2022-esque. And so, I mean, that was the definition of Team of Destiny. And I think BYU's a nice spiritual successor this year.
Taking the Darius Lassiter touchdown off the table, because it's a game-winning touchdown. That's obviously the play of the game. But in that second half, I felt like there was 4 or 5 significant plays that had a large determination on the outcome. Is there a play in that second half that stands out to you as just being a huge play that maybe will get overlooked because of the Lassiter touchdown?
Yeah, I think Chase Roberts on that same drive, the 4th and 8, where Retzlaff converted to Roberts over the middle. That was such an impressive throw by Retzlaff. He's kind of backpedaling through sidearm, kind of the Mahomes-esque arm slot motion that he's been so famous for at BYU now. Roberts has been so solid this year. I feel like he's kind of flown under the radar. He hasn't had any like crazy jump off the page plays like he did in 2022 or 2023, but I've been really impressed by Chase Roberts. I thought that play was awesome. I thought Tommy Prasis's interception was really great, and that led to a score. And so, I mean, there was just – and to take Rangel out of the game, Tanner Wall tackling him, chasing him down, that was the first half, obviously, but still, that was such a big game. That was such a big swing for BYU. Obviously, Bowman played much better than we thought, but I think to have to force Oklahoma State to scramble in terms of changing their game plan with Bowman, and that was huge down the stretch. And Rangel had a really nice feel of the game, and there were a lot of plays down the stretch, but that Roberts play and the Prasis pick, I think, are the two that stand out the most for me.
Are you concerned at all about the defense moving forward after this game where they give up 269 on the ground?
No, I mean, I don't think the defense is as bad as what they saw last night, and I don't think it was as good as we thought going in, right? I think there's a medium, and that's not to say that there's not a good defense. They were 15th in the country in scoring average going into last night, and last night they played like a bottom 20 defense in the league, right? And so, or in the country. I think the fact that they won makes it so much easier to adjust and to have the hard conversations and be uncomfortable in the film room. Had they lost, I feel like there's that really bitter taste in your mouth. It's just awkward. But now I feel like they won, and it's much more easy to be humbled in the film room and to make those adjustments. And like I said, UCF is a really tough opponent. They have a lot of good team speed. They have a lot of athleticism. We'll see what they do at the quarterback position. But, I mean, Jay Hill has been phenomenal this year. Last night was kind of his first miss of the season, I felt like. And I find it hard to believe that Jay Hill is going to have 2 misses in a row. I don't think that he's lost his fastball. I think last night, I don't want to no disrespect to BYU's coaching staff, but I thought that Gundy and his staff might have outcoached BYU at times, and BYU was definitely fortunate to get that win, but it felt like Gundy's staff maybe had it more together than BYU, and I don't think that happens 2 weeks in a row. So I'm a big believer in Jay Hill. I've been really encouraged by the defense this year. I think last night was more of the exception rather than the rule. So maybe they're not a top 15 scoring defense, but maybe they're top 20, maybe they're top 30, and that's still really solid and incredible improvement from last year. And so UCF is going to be a great test for this team. And then, you got Utah in 2 weeks. You got an extra bye week to prepare for Utah. You're playing Isaac Wilson, a true freshman. I got to think Jay Hill's licking his chops to game plan for that game, because what an awesome environment that's going to be, and what a great chance for his defense to maybe silence some of the critics from last night.
What do you think of Jake Retzlaff? The reason I ask this is it looks like he got dinged up at the end of the first half. I got a text saying, "Can't wait for Gary." Like, that still exists out there, even though Jake has led a 7-0 start and they're a top 15 team. What do you make of Jake?
Jake is balling, I mean, the throws he made down the stretch last night, the throw to Retzlaff, the throw to Roberts, he made some bad decisions, obviously, but I think BYU is so lucky that he didn't get hurt at the end of the first half. I mean, it looked like he was going to break his arm. I fully expected Gary to come out. I thought Jake was done right there, but I was kind of having Toledo flashbacks from 2019 when Zach Wilson made the tackle on the interception when the game was already lost and he was out for a few weeks. I was like, oh, great, here we go again. But, I mean, Jake's balling. How many other quarterbacks have started 7-0 at BYU, right? If it ain't broke, don't fix it, and it's definitely not broke. He's been playing great. I love what A-Rod has done this season. I know people love to throw him under the bus, but I thought he's called an incredible campaign to be 7-0. And one of the things I really loved was not only Jake's insistence to stay in the game, but I don't know if humility is the right word, but the willingness to adjust the game plan and go along with what the coaches were calling out at halftime. I know Jake is a gunslinger. He loves to throw the football around, but they ran like 10 straight run plays coming out at halftime. And a lot of quarterbacks want to show that they're okay. Like, hey, I'm not hurt. I can throw the football. And for him to go along with all those run plays and really kind of get back in the game scoring-wise by just gashing Oklahoma State on the ground, I thought that was an awesome, awesome effort. And it showed a lot about Jake to be willing to execute a game plan like that may not suit his interests necessarily, but he had a chance to win the game at the end. He did it. I've been hearing for years about how great Jake is in the 2-minute drill. And so when he got the ball back with 73 seconds left, I was like, okay, he's never really had to do this before. I've been hearing about how great he is in crunch time, and I just kind of had this feeling like something magic's going to happen here. I don't know. I don't want to sound like LeBron just lying, right? But it really felt like something was going to go BYU's way, and sure enough, I mean, like I said, we're going to be telling our kids about that game for years to come. Retzlaff has been great. I think he's a top 5 quarterback in the Big 12 this year by far. I mean, what a blast he is to watch. And, you know, Gary Bohannon, I'm sure he would have had success this year too, but what Jake is doing is special. Really big fan of Retzlaff.
Last thing for Jackson Payne from the Deseret News on with us here on Cougar Sports Saturday on KSL News Radio. You were in the post-game press conference with Mike Gundy. Our intern, Allie Braithwaite, was there too. What was kind of the mood of being in person with Gundy after his Pokes lost to BYU and kind of his tone and reaction to falling to BYU and the atmosphere in Provo?
Yeah, I was surprised how quickly he came in for postgame. I know some coaches, after a loss like that, they take their time. They're not really eager to face the media, but he came right in. He wasn't afraid to take tough questions. I asked him about the atmosphere in Provo and what he thought about it, having never coached here before, and he was super complimentary. I'm a big Mike Gundy fan. I think he's a professional. Obviously, he's had kind of a chaotic career in terms of just his just being a character himself, right? But he's a really successful coach. He's done a lot of great things at Oklahoma State. And like I said, I thought he outcoached BYU last night. I know him and Kalani are great friends. I don't think Kalani coached a bad game. I just think Gundy coached a better game. And I think because of that, there was kind of he had the confidence to go in front and face the music. And I thought he was very complimentary to BYU. He was respectful. And I don't think there's any bad blood between these two teams. I think it's just sometimes you lose and you just got to – I think there was a TikTok I saw of one of the Oklahoma State players on the sideline after Retzlaff's touchdown. He just kind of had this, like, goofy smile on his face, like, oh, my gosh, I can't believe that happened. And it stinks to lose, but I think sometimes you just got to tip your hat and go, you know what, that's a magical moment, and you can't really prevent something like that. Obviously, you could have made a better tackle. You could have made 3 better tackles on Retzlaff, on Lassiter. But I think Gundy, they're 0-4. He didn't really seem devastated or anything. It was more of just, man, we lost, on to the next, and so I respected him a lot for that.
That's Jackson Payne. Good stuff, Jackson. He's with the Deseret News, and also good luck to your Commanders. Jackson's a big Commanders fan, so good luck to them going forward. They might win that division, Jackson.
Goodness, that would be a dream come true. For BYU to be 7-0 and the Commanders to have a franchise quarterback and be one of the best offenses in the country, this is probably the best year of football I've ever had, knock on wood. What a time to be alive, gentlemen.
What a time to be alive. Thanks, Jackson. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jackson.
I appreciate you guys.
Before we get to break, earlier today, I was going to Lehigh Bakery, Mitch, to get some donuts, celebrate that big win, needed a little extra juice of sugar. And my wife, we're getting ready for my son's 4th birthday. She mentioned she went to the dollar store, and I'm like, man, I haven't been to the dollar store in years. And she said, well, not everything's $1 anymore. Now it's all $1.25. And that just kind of illustrates the economic times that we're living in. Thankfully, there's someone like Beehive Meals out there who not only make things easy for you, saves you time, but they can save you money. Because in today's economy, Mitch, the rising cost of food is a concern for everyone. Serving cost with Beehive Meals, $3 to $4 a person. It's competitive. It's budget-friendly. That's really nice to have during these times.
And it's unmatched convenience, too. Along with being economical, it's convenient. The planning, the shopping, the prepping for family dinners, it can be time-consuming and exhausting. We've all been there. We've experienced that in our families. Beehive Meals takes care of all that for you. Just place your order online. They'll get it delivered and set a set of 10 meals directly to your doorstep. So it's hassle-free solution that gives you more time to focus on what really matters in your busy schedule. We're all busy. We're all juggling multiple things. Whatever your kind of economic situation is, they're going to have an option for you and your family, and that's what makes Beehive Meals so convenient.
Check them out, beehivemeals.com. Take a break. We'll get back to some calls, texts, breaking down that big win over Oklahoma State next.